This is The Download from Sounds Profitable, your daily source for the essential news in the business of podcasting. I'm Gavin Gaddis. Here's what you need to know for today, Thursday, January 8th. Our top story, remember who you are. Yes, that is a Lion King reference. Instead of chasing growth at all costs, Tom Webster suggests a goal for 2026. Less chasing someone else's idea of what podcasting should become. The Creators 2025 found those who started creating podcasts and then left the industry look demographically like video creators, matching them in 9 of 12 measured segments. It's fair to infer that these lapsed creators were likely producing video podcasts, yet their consumption habits show only 0.8% of them consumed podcasts video only on YouTube. Thus, the problem emerges. Video is causing people who prefer audio podcasting to burn out under the idea that they have to optimize for a hypothetical video audience that might exist. And that optimization can overwrite what made audio podcasting appealing in the first place. Amplify Media's Stephen Goldstein, speaking to The Economist, also points to how the overinvestment in video has siphoned money and attention, not intention, away from scripted and narrative podcasts. I got through that sentence. Beloved series like The Bright Sessions and Dr. Death can't easily make the jump to video like influencer or celebrity-hosted chat podcasts can, which circles back to that 0.8% of former video podcasters. As Tom Webster says, experimentation is not inherently a bad thing, but the data shows audiences want good podcasts, not expensive and taxing reinvention of podcasts they already enjoy. To thrive in 2026 is to remember what about the medium is worth protecting in the first place. Next up, AI podcast search inside the black box. Search engine optimization platform Pod SEO, which has a specific focus in AI visibility, has published their findings from a 4-week study that systematically queried ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Gemini. One key takeaway is chatbot LLMs prefer their podcasting data to be spoon-fed to them, as they pulled 79% of podcast recommendations and data from editorial and listicle pages, versus 21% pulled from podcasting platforms themselves. For example, Player.fm and Good Pods account for 10.6% of AI citations throughout their experiment. By comparison, Spotify and Apple Podcasts combined accounted for 8.3%. To get one's podcast recommendations in a chatbot is a bit of a Wild West scenario right now, as early adopters of GPT-friendly SEO are floating to the top, leading to quirks like the 35th most popular business podcast on Apple Podcasts being the number 1 overall podcast recommendation in general from all 4 AI assistants. And for our final top story, Netflix video podcasts are almost here. Video podcasts arrive officially on Netflix late this week, and they're making a splash in the news cycle. The Wrap has a comprehensive breakdown of all 34 shows coming exclusively to the platform in January, with any licensed show ceasing uploads of video to their YouTube for at least a year. Meanwhile, op-eds from people like The Puck's Julia Alexander and Vulture's Nicholas Quah interrogate the transition from TV and movies into video podcasting. Both writers question if the more simplistic podcasts that have been licensed by Netflix will fare well on a platform full of attention-grabbing visual media. I will gently push back on that notion, as the phrase second screen content became a widely known phrase in 2025 in large part because The Guardian wrote a piece about how Netflix has scripting edicts demanding that things be re-explained just in case somebody is on their phone while watching. Netflix having video podcasts with unimportant video is not a bug, it's a feature. They want to be the living room TV that you put on even if you're doing something else, much like how YouTube music videos are a really good example of YouTube being living room TV you don't need to watch. As for the rest of the news, Magellan AI is back with another case study examining how their platform impacted a client, this time looking at new revenue opportunities and hidden demand uncovered for True Native Media. Former Acast Global SVP of Advertising Joe Copeman has just announced he's now Director Commercial at Global. Inside Audio Marketing now has a new piece interviewing Cat's digital president, Scott Peretti, including his belief that in 2026, multi-platform ads are positioned to take the lead. And finally, Edison Research has a new graph for at-home podcast consumption. Here's what Tom Webster had to say on the matter when I messaged him on Slack this morning. Quote, "The lockdowns may be over, but this data is a trailing variable of the fact that much of the workforce in podcasting's key demographics are still working remotely. In fact, most recent estimates show that roughly 22% of the American workforce are remote, compared to just 4% just before the pandemic," end quote. As usual, you can find every single link I just talked about by clicking the one link in your podcast notes to take you to today's episode on soundsprofitable.com. You can also go to Sounds Profitable's website to sign up for the newsletter version of the show, which will send you the text and the links directly to your inbox every afternoon as soon as this episode drops. As usual, the download is written and produced by myself, Brian Barletta, and Tom Webster. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Gavin Gaddis, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for the download recap.